nobler to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to go home and hear my mother whine.
Brilliant!
Acting!
Genius!
Thank you! I'm sorry, are you hurt?
Don't be silly! Acting!
When you first got into high school, who were the people that really kind of gave you that direction or that guidance to get into plays or get into a subject that you liked?
Well, I had come to Mount Anthony from school right over the border in Massachusetts, Pine Cobble School, and it was a pretty small private middle school where my interest in theater and drama were kind of cultivated, and at a pretty young age there, I got into a couple of plays, and then, of course, I got all kinds of wild ideas about continuing that as a career. And when I came to Mount Anthony, Mr. Backus, who you will probably remember, was one of the biology teachers, but he was also directing a lot of the plays, and then I was already interested in finding out what was going on with the drama department and how I could get into plays there. And I think it was just, luck of the draw that Mr. Backus was my biology teacher and the drama teacher, and I found out about tryouts kind of quickly through him. Whether he encouraged me actively or not, I don't really remember, but once I got into the first play, he definitely did encourage me thereafter to continue, so that was good. I also wanted to say that it was very interesting being in plays as a sophomore with students who were older than me, because there's such a kind of a cliquish stratification in high school between who's a freshman, who's a sophomore, junior, and senior, that my recollection is that my social life didn't extend very far beyond my particular class. I had a few friends just by chance that were a little older than me, but to be in a play like Grease and have Sue Coulter cast as Sandy, someone who I only saw in the halls,
right,
and considered to be so much older than me. She was a year older, but to me at the time I was like, wow, that's crazy. Now suddenly I'm actively doing something with an upperclassman.
Your experience at the first play that you did of Grease.
Yeah.
So was this your first time doing a play?
It was not. I had done a couple at Pine Cobble School when I was younger.
And your experience on the set, was it just similar to normal production, or was this a better experience?
Of Grease?
Yes.
I think that with the extra interest and enthusiasm that the film of Grease had kind of created in those years, I think that there was a lot more excitement by all of us involved in trying to replicate or interpret some of that our own way. But I think everyone felt pretty jazzed to be a part of something that at that time was kind of high in pop culture, and having the opportunity to step into those shoes was exciting for everyone, I think.
What about West Side Story? I mean, that was my first experience in theater, but apparently you've been a veteran at that point. And gotten had the opportunity to play. Sorry, what was his name? Tony. I can remember Keiko or Carol just saying that all the time. It was so hilarious. Tony. Even during rehearsal, it was just like she pushed it all in. She was just like. It was like a part of her. It was just crazy just to hear her, just do her lines. Of course, the rest of us sharks were, minimal on our lines, but it was just so cool just to see somebody that, into their production. And with you, it was just watching you work. It was just really cool. I was just like, wow, he's actually talented. He knows what he's doing. Me, I couldn't remember a line if I tried. all the time that, I mean, what I did, I was mostly into the choreography portion of it.
Yeah.
And I knew that very well. But when it came to like the acting part, I was like, okay, I got one line, but it was just scary. Even with the opening night, we were all, remember how we were all in the back and it was all dark, and then the music played?
Yeah.
And that's when kind of that calmness fell on me, and I was like, huh, this is surreal. I can do this. And before all that, I was frightened. I was like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to mess up. Everybody's going to hate me. And it was just like, wow, it just went so smoothly the first night and the second night. But what about you? How did you feel during that time?
I was pretty excited by it, and I think what was different about West Side Story was that we were able to bring in some more contemporary elements to an old story. Specifically, I'm thinking of the breakdancing.
Yeah.
And how cool it was that our elders were either open to us doing that or kind of pushed us to bring in some sort of modern element to a pretty old story at that point, and just kind of spice it up a little and make it more interesting maybe to some of the younger members of the audience. But it was still relevant, and the story of West Side Story, which is basically Romeo and Juliet, back to Shakespeare, going all the way back there, and bringing the story into the 40s or 50s, whenever West Side Story originally hit the stage, and then us doing it 40 years later in the 80s. It was still a relevant story, and the fact that we were able to hit on those kind of pop culture elements, I think was kind of cool and kind of innovative.
I'd like to thank Dave Tatro, all the way from Seattle, Washington, for calling in and doing an interview. If you'd like to do an interview as well, contact us at Facebook. If you'd like to participate, just contact us there and we will get a hold of you. Thanks for listening to the show, and we'll have another segment with Dave coming up called Part 2, and look forward to that. Good night.